Hi everyone, again, it's Gene Calderon with Gene Calderon Apologetics Ministries, here going through our teachings and looking at what we like to call Philosophy Friday. Today being Friday, we like to look at some of the ideas and the thoughts that we learn from our faith with being logical about why we hold to that faith. And so that's what we like to do on Fridays, to look at the philosophy and actually see if it makes sense. So one of the things that we look at is if Jesus was and really is God, some people ask, well, what was the purpose of it all? What did he come down here to do? Well, one thing that we know he came to do, which is pretty obvious, he came down here to teach, right? He came down here to show us how to understand or to fulfill the word correctly. When we look into the New Testament or any of the other Christian writings, we'll find that those resources are usually talking about something else altogether besides the teaching. And that focus is usually on Christ's death, coming back to life, and ascending back up into the Father. And we look at that as being the main point of the story. That the main purpose of Jesus' life was to suffer and be killed, be buried, and then resurrect on the third day. Now, God wanted to execute his justice on men for those who deserted him or rebelled against him or even joined what we might call the great rebel, which was Satan himself. But Christ volunteers himself to take our place instead to receive the punishment for sins that we so rightly deserved. But he took it upon himself. And that is the central belief, is that Christ's death somehow puts us right with God and has actually given us a fresh start. Now, there's a couple of different theories about how all of this works. How do we put all this together? Well, let's look at that idea of putting a theory together, because whenever one of us becomes hungry or tired or just need like a refreshment or refreshing, we will eat a good meal to kind of refresh us, right? Well, today we have many different ideas about how nourishment works. All the vitamins and the minerals and the proteins and biotics or antioxidants or things of that sort. Now, that's a completely different idea than just being able to eat a meal and feeling refreshed. People ate dinners long before we knew what vitamins even were or had even heard of. And even if the idea of what is in the nourishment is completely lost, or we forget about it or just dismiss it, we're still going to eat when we get hungry and feel better afterwards, okay? So in the same way, the theories about Christ's death and resurrection, well, that's not necessarily Christianity, the theories of it, right? They are an explanation of how we think it might work. But let's not forget the thing or the part that is of most importance, the fact that Christ did die and rise again. That itself is more important than the explanations that we try to come up with. There's nothing wrong with looking into it. There's nothing wrong with trying to understand it. But the fact of the matter is, it's more important that we understand it actually happened and he did it for us than to try and figure out how he actually did it, right? And so there's no explanation that will ever be able to explain it fully to us. The theories are not the thing we are asked to accept. Do you accept this theory? What about that theory? No, we're asked to accept the fact that Christ suffered on our place for our behalf so that we could accept that and enter into the kingdom of God. So in the same way a man can enjoy his dinner without understanding exactly how all the food is going to nourish him, we can accept Jesus Christ without knowing all of the intricate details about how it works. Now, again, I do know or understand we're held to a certain accountability about understanding our faith. But do you really have to dig that deep? Not necessarily. If you can, great, go for it. If it's just not your field, all right, well, as long as we understand that we are accepting the fact, even though we're not exactly sure exactly how it works, we do understand that it is a fact that it did happen and it was done on our behalf. And so don't let that hold us back. And if we're witnessing or if we ourselves are kind of stuck in that situation, also remember that you're not going to be able to experience that kind of understanding until we actually accept it in the first place. So that's where we have to start, is understanding who Jesus was, what he did on our behalf, and then accepting it, and then watch it work. Watch it work through your lives and just be nourished in that and be rested in that and refreshed in that. Not having to study all of the intricate details. It's fun if you can do it and if you have that understanding, but you don't really need to. You can just enjoy it, witness to other people, study the Gospels, get out there and share what Christ has done for you. And that's what we're looking at today when we're talking about Philosophy Friday. How much do we have to understand? As much as we possibly can. No shortcuts, no cheating, But some things are just theories, and we're not called to accept theories. We're called to accept Christ. So again, thank you so much for watching this Philosophy Friday. If you'd like to support a local missionary, that's what I am with Ratio Christi at Purdue University Northwest. And the link is below. Go ahead and click on that. If you'd like to donate financially, we're going to be starting up more teachings for the students. In fact, we already have, but when campus starts up in the fall, we will be there. Or I do serve at Freedom Church in East Chicago and Northwest Indiana regions, serving at different churches, public speaking events, things like that, to help better equip the believers to be able to give a credible defense about why we believe what we believe. God does exist. Jesus was who he said he was. The Bible is accurate and true. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you all soon. Take care.